Alright, space news. News about space. Blue Origin's New Shepard Mission 28 launched on November 22nd. Experienced the raw emotion of Emily Calandrelli? Calandrelli? I don't know. Who the hell is she? She's a YouTuber?
That's our planet. Oh my god, that's space.
It's the fakest raw emotion I've ever seen. She only has one emotion, fake. She's doing her best Jodie Foster impersonation. I mean, good for her, she got to go to space. Barely.
Oh my god, that's space. No words. No words. To describe. Poetry. I should have said a poet.
But she's ripping off that movie Contact because nobody under 40 remembers it. No one under 40 has ever seen the movie Contact. Nobody remembers Jodie Foster having that emotion.
That's our planet. Oh my god, that's space.
You can tell her reaction is scripted. Look, she made sure to have the camera at the perfect angle to deliver the line and then take the group photo. It's like the most important thing today for people, making sure that, you see them doing something. I mean, I'm sure it's all inspiring, but she was definitely inspired by Contact. William Shatner did it better. William Shatner didn't say a thing. He sat there and looked out his fucking window the whole time. Then when they were back on the ground, right in the middle of Shatner giving Bezos an intense, recollection of a profound, life-changing event, Bezos walks off to make sure the champagne is in the shot. Because having a photo is more important than actual experience to those people. Bezos totally spoiled the moment. That's why I'm a SpaceX fan, not a Blue Origin fan. That and SpaceX actually puts payload into orbit. Blue Origin doesn't. SpaceX had a flawless Starship launch earlier this month. All engines lit, hot staging flawless. It's starting to become boring, really. Booster dropped in the ocean. I guess the tower wasn't working or something. I think it's because Trump was in town and Secret Service is like, no way you're getting anywhere near that Brownsville, Texas site if that thing's coming back. So they just dumped it in the ocean. It was still floating, though, in some good daylight video of Starship reentry. What do they have? 21 heat shield tiles removed from the Starship Flight 6. Pushing the ship to the limits. Older heat shield iteration. Testing secondary heat shield material and structural strength. A lot of spots left bare. A lot of tiles missing. Still made it back, though. Flying aggressively, the ship kind of comes in nose down through the cloud bank and then hits its mark right on the money. Push it to the limits. It's a huge crease from the side. Very noticeable. I'm wondering how reusable this thing's actually going to be. The booster's no problem. But the second stage has a lot of work still, Leading edge of the wing is glowing. Trump was there, and I'm glad he was there. For the longest time, space news was like a break from politics, but not anymore. And the more I think about colonization of space, the more I think about the politics behind it all. But Trump's back in. Unless they start World War III and postpone the change of power. But if they don't start World War III, it's the return of the 1990s blue sky prosperous feel. I can't do this anymore. The whole time I wanted to keep politics out of space, but what I think needs to happen is we need politics and space. We need to go back to the before times. Before a bunch of purple-haired feminists tried making everybody trans. Before abortion was the biggest issue in this country, because it's not.
Remove the World Trade Center from the New
Before
York City
9/11,
skyline.
because that's what really ruined the future. The future was bright and optimistic, and then 9/11 happened.
That one didn't age quite so well.
The Starship launch, it brings us back to a time where boomers made us think everything was going to turn out great. It reminds me of the Sonic the Hedgehog. It reminds me of that show Beyond 2000, where they would show what the future was supposed to look like. The future was supposed to look like the Cybertruck. But instead of shitty trucks that you technically don't own, we got shitty cars that look like hamsters. The future was bright in the 1990s. Not quite as bright as the mushroom clouds, but bright enough the aliens could hit their target if they wanted to. There was a feel in the air. Like, could you imagine what things are going to be like in 20 years? You know, the 80s and 90s were mostly optimistic, but not all future predictions were magical and prosperous. If you were paying attention to the movies back then, instead of just watching them, you would know that. I watched 12 Monkeys the other day. I'll tell you what, go back and watch The Terminator. Or really, that movie Demolition Man was the most accurate as far as predictions go. Everybody in Demolition Man in the future is a big pussy who drives an electric car. No one's allowed to touch each other because they're all a bunch of germaphobes, and everyone is forced to eat vegan food. If you cuss, you get tickets. If you say anything bad about somebody, you just straight go away. The Lawnmower Man, that's another one that tried to warn us.
I have things to do, people to see, 1 billion calls to make.
I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful ending. How many billion phone calls did he make? Boy, can I relate to that. I don't want to incriminate myself too much, but me and my friends used to make prank phone calls by the thousands. And we would prank call all these people from the same phone number. And then we would also prank call that phone number thousands of times from random phone numbers. And sometimes we would connect the two together, so they thought they called each other. And we had ways to listen in on all the phone calls going back and forth. And people would call this guy back and be super pissed off. And the guy was like, we've called the cops, we've called the State Bureau of Investigation, blah, blah, blah. And so we stopped because we were like, okay, this is getting out of hand. We're going to get in trouble. Because back then you could plug a recording device into somebody's house at the box outside and you could record everything that passed over their lines. And we laughed. We laughed until we cried, literally rolling on the floor, crying from laughing so hard. Like 2003, back when the whole government tracking every phone call, mass spying network was just a conspiracy theory. But hey, it's Thanksgiving. We shouldn't be talking about politics. If you're looking for a good topic for discussion, something to talk about at Thanksgiving dinner when everyone else is talking about politics, instead ask Grandma about her first sexual experience. Is that inappropriate? My girlfriend's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. It's either that or we talk about politics. Maybe Gam Gam was a freak. Maybe she would love to open up about her first sexual experience.